Today I'll show you how you can plant nature in your pond. Even if it's polluted by too many nutrients, the water's green with algae and impossible to get rid of them, and have clear water. I call it my plan B. If you cannot clear the water, what you can do, you can still plant some flowers. That's common gardener's work. I guess you already do so in your garden. Now walk with me and I'll show you how I use Plan B in my crayfish pond and plant nature and flowers. A kind of nature you can plant is a quaking bog. It's a carpet of plants that floats on the water. Here's a quaking bog with bog beans. I planted them in my pond. It's easy. Just stick a root in moist soil, put a stone on to keep it in place, and it starts growing to form a carpet on the water. Another quaking bog plant I also planted, Marsh cinquefoil, and wild calla, also a good choice, but it cannot grow in my lake because my crayfish, they are just crazy about eating it. In the wet soil by the edge, you can plant marsh plants. Here's yellow flag iris. It's a wild iris. We also have many cultivated iris with different colors, some for wet and some for dry soils. Mare's tail, a good choice for water gardens and ponds. Grow in shallow water and can also grow in deep if the water is clear. Pink flowering rush flowers most of the summer, from June to August. Bulrush and reeds, these I'll warn you against. Don't let them into your pond. They'll turn it into a reed bed. Cut them or pull them out unless you want a reed bed instead of a pond. Meadowland is the moist soil around your pond. There are many meadow flowers suited to grow here, but beware of fertilizer. If too much fertilizer, nettles and big grass will crowd out your meadow plants. You can still plant some meadow flowers, but I guess you'll have to weed around them. Marsh marigold blooms early spring before trees get leaves, and then they grow under the shade until next spring. Ragged robin, a most beautiful meadow flower. I planted them as pot grown, and they spread with their own seeds. Cuckoo flower, I planted as pot grown. They spread with seeds. You can use them as spice. They taste like mustard or wasabi. Forget-me-not likes it here at this pond. Many meadow flowers are quite picky about their growing spots. Some will grow and some will not. Take some trying to find some that suits your soil and climate. Watermint you can use as spice or mint tea. Creeping Jenny, a flat ground cover plant, doesn't even care if you run it over with your lawnmower. And now the water lilies. They are the classic water garden plants, covering the water with flowers. Monet's water lily garden is famous. He used them as motif in his many paintings. We use them in ponds like roses in our garden. Here are some lilies. There are more than 60 species and hundreds of varieties. Now some about landscaping. A crooked tree and some large stone. They make a pond look like nature. I put a new tin roof on my firewood shed to make it look like a pavilion, something we often use for landscaping in gardens and parks. I found this picture of a boardwalk in Plitvice Lakes National Park. Such a walk I could picture in my pond. I have a steep slope going straight down in the water, so I cannot walk there. Now I built the walk with stones instead of boards. It can become flooded by high water winter. My old wooden deck was destroyed this way. It simply floated and pulled up the poles. This cannot happen to a stone walk. Here's my new deck where you can sit by the water. It's a floating deck with floats of EPS insulation blocks and deck of boards. There are 3 meters water under the deck. Here I am at my reflection pond in my garden. Here I have water lilies and crayfish. Our orangery, we built it down here to have lake view. And of course, because the barn it was built on was here in the first place. We are having a crayfish party, so we have set the table here. So if you cannot clear your water, you can plant some flowers. It's a simple method, common gardeners work, and it can transform how your pond feels and what it gives back. This is my plan B, and it works. If you have a question, please leave a comment and I'll look into it. And thank you for watching. But the crayfish party, you are too late for that, I'm afraid.